What's up, guys?
Nope.
All right, injuries for practice today. Kevin Givens, groin won't practice. Conley, hamstring won't practice. Mooney, personal won't practice. Jake Moody, right ankle limited. Juwan Jennings, hip limited. Debo, rib, oblique limited. Feliciano, knee limited. McCaffrey, Achilles limited. Yetur, knee limited. Mitch, back limited. And that's it.
Kyle, how did Christian fare on Monday? Was he still staying on track today, Sunday?
Yeah, he was good. We didn't do too much, but had no pain. Was good yesterday, and excited to get him out there today.
Kyle, what have you told Mooney about just how much time he needs?
I haven't told him any. It's we haven't even got there yet. I know they're having the service, I believe, this Friday for Amani. I know he's out of Dallas right now, and we're on his time with that. So just whenever he's getting close to ready.
The NFL doesn't give you guys a roster exemption or players roster exemption for being on bereavement.
No.
You agree with that?
Huh?
Do you agree with that?
No. But never thought about it till this situation. But no. I mean, it's tough, but everybody handles those things differently. You never know how. I don't like to think of how I'd react because you don't know until it happens. So just something you got to be there for someone, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's whatever works for the person.
At what point do you think there will be a decision on whether or not Christian plays Sunday?
To like publicly kick off.
What about in your mind? What do you need to see from him, or what does he need to tell you?
That he's just Christian McCaffrey, and he's not hurting. But as long as everything goes well, it has in the rehab. So just as long as it doesn't get sore and have setbacks each day with practice. Usually, if you get that in practice, that means it's going to be worse in the game. So hopefully, you can string together 3 days in a row and not have any of those.
If he does look like the Christian of old, does his workload become the workload of old, or is that something that you're going to be more cognizant of?
It definitely could, but it also definitely might not.
Oh, interesting.
So.
But let me just follow that up. I mean, he did have a heavy workload last year.
Yeah.
Is there any thought that the issues that he's dealing with now are related to the 20 games that he played a year ago?
I don't believe that. I don't think he believes that. I think things happen to a body. I think they happen in the off season, but I don't think that really has to do with numbers. When a guy's healthy and good, they're usually good. But we got to see where his conditioning's at, how he is. I know he's conditioned as well as he can be, but how his football conditioning is and stuff. But usually I don't chalk up to numbers one year to affect the entry the next year.
When you're making a game plan, do you have to make one with Christian and one without Christian?
You got to do it like always. I mean, you got to be ready for. Guys have different traits. So whether a guy's going 10 plays, 30, or all plays, or whether he gets hurt in the first series, or whether he gets sick before the game, it's the same as always. Difference with different players.
Kyle, I guess people have gotten conditioned, and you guys got a significant move at the trade deadline. Expecting it would happen this year. What was, I guess, you and John's thought process of as far as not making a huge move?
I think it was the same as every year. There's just we don't just make a huge move because we want to. We think it's something that can help and not hurt you for the future, and you got to risk. You got to weigh those risks every year. And a few good things have popped up that we thought were worth the risks in past years. We didn't see anything this year. That was a huge risk, but we do feel like we helped our team with the things that we did do.
You had Gibson on the practice squad last year. Well, maybe it was 2 years ago. Put him in the lineup, and then he never came out. What do you look for him this time around?
Just want to see where he's at. With him having the suspension and then him being with Jacksonville, he's always someone we were looking to in the offseason to bring here. And then he ended up getting with Jacksonville, and we're glad that he's not there. We knew as soon as that wouldn't be the case, we wanted to get him here if it worked out for him. With some of the injuries that we have, it's awesome to be able to get him to be available for our practice squad, and we'll get to see him practice this week, and we'll play from there.
Kyle, since you've been here, your teams have won 70% of the games after the bye. Is there anything that you do during the bye or that you do to prepare yourself for your team post-bye?
No, I think, you'd like to think you get better the more you practice, the farther you go. You also like to think other teams do that too. So I always like to feel we're going to be better I like to feel we're better the following week always. But our first year we started 0-9, and finished 6-10. So I think that helps a little bit. But all the years after our second year, I think we've had good teams since we've had good records, and they've come pretty early too.
Kyle, guys have playing, I think, 4 teams that are coming off a bye this week. I mean, the schedule as far as rest conventional and it doesn't work in your favor. This week is an exception. Obviously, Tampa had to play. I mean, did you watch the game and are you like, sweet?
Yeah, definitely. I was hoping the rules would change and they could go to double overtime. Yeah, I mean, that's always stuff that, I mean, it can be advantage, but I've done it enough that you think it's an advantage and it's a disadvantage. I've been in times where you think the bye week is the rest you need and you feel rested and stuff, but you just got out of your groove a little bit and you're a little rusty, where teams that are going every single week are kind of in their groove. So I've seen it both ways, but I definitely would take our side over the other.
What do you see from Baker? How has he grown in Tampa?
I think Baker's a stud. I think last year I thought he was at the top of his game last year, playing real well, and this year I think he's same if not better. I think he's one of the main reasons. I think they were a couple plays away from playing us in the NFC Championship last year. We were real worried about him going into that game. He just got hotter as the whole year went, and he's playing at such a high level right now.
Coach,
So a
you
couple
mentioned
more
that the
days.
next 4 weeks you're
Helping
pretty
out.
long road trips. Is there anything that you have to do to prepare for that differently?
Not really. I mean, we deal with crowd noise more here and stuff, so you get used to the silent cadence. But usually, you get used to that in half a day. Sometimes we like having a little more sleep on the airplanes, which is nice. At least coaches, you get a little more rested. But always like being at home. Always like being in our stadium. Always like Fridays being around our families and stuff. But sometimes it's nice to hunker down a little bit and be about group of 53 guys or whatever it is going against the whole stadium, and doing that a few weeks in a row can get fun, and as long as you handle the games the right way.
Coach, you just mentioned how sometimes the bye helps, sometimes it doesn't. Just your comprehensive look on what you've seen from your team as a whole, knowing that you guys have taken some hits early in the season. When they came back on Monday, how did you feel like you guys looked after the bye? Well rested or not so much?
Yeah, I always go off, it's usually like the first meeting I talk to the guys. It's usually it's like 10 on Monday. But I always kind of I love the feeling usually of a room before you talk after a bye week. I've been on teams that you don't have a good team and everyone's been off a week and everyone's still like trying to get used to getting awake for a meeting. And then sometimes you walk in a room and you can just feel the collective energy of a team feels rested. They got away for a little bit and they're excited to be back. They're excited to be around the players, the coaches, and everyone for what's ahead. And that's the vibe I got from our team. I think we got it rested. Doesn't solve everything. I mean, it's only a week and stuff, but it's as good mentally as it is physically. And we got a lot ahead of us. It's going to be a huge challenge, but one that we definitely feel we're capable of and one we're excited and up for.
Tampa played 83 plays on defense. As a play caller, what can you do when you see a team's played that much, log that many minutes the game prior to take advantage of that advantage?
I mean, not much as a play caller. I mean, it's you hope they're still tired from it. So you hope that we make the game hard for them and stuff and do all that. But it's kind of like what I was saying earlier. It's sometimes you go every week and you have bye weeks early and you go like 10 weeks in a row and you just get on runs and you guys get used and you get to the motions. I thought last year one of our toughest challenges was clinching our division after that Washington game and having the next week not count anything versus the Rams, and then another week where we had a bye week and we had to watch everyone, and then we had a week of practice to get ready for our Green Bay game. And I felt that was one of the reasons I thought we played some of our worst football. The guys loved it. Guys were into it. They were getting rested, but you just kind of got out of that groove. And man, it felt like we needed a break because we were exhausted, but it doesn't always help. So you got to keep that intensity, even though your mind usually is. You got to make sure everything's going through it, and because it doesn't get easier, it gets harder, and you got to be used to it being hard all the time. You got to get comfortable with that, not used to it.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.